Hello, party people. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, I'm Savannah. On the channel, I talk about the fun side of minimalism, which is just keeping things really light as far as talking about decluttering, living more intentionally without having too much of like a snobby, serious perspective on it. So today's video, I wanted to film just like a sit down, chatty, listy video. I like watching these on YouTube, just a little food for thought. So I'm sharing the 16 things that I actually spend more money on or I buy more of now that I'm a minimalist. And I've actually filmed the inverse of this video, which was like all the things that I no longer buy or the things that I have quit since decluttering and simplifying my life. But yes, today are the things that I actually do spend more money on, basically the areas of my life that have risen to the surface, to the top, as far as like importance and meaning and what I'm willing to spend some dough on. So without further ado, let's get into the vid. Number one is underwear and socks. I feel like since decluttering everything and kind of adopting Marie Kondo's spark joy mentality, I do not keep any old underwear or socks in my wardrobe that don't fit, that are dirty, that aren't a colorway that I like, because they're not spark and joy. They don't make me feel good. I'm a firm believer that if you're wearing uncomfortable underwear or like old socks that are worn out, it's just like not a good foundation to your outfit. And when you enter the world, you're gonna be a little less confident. So these days I actually buy underwear and socks a lot more frequently. I like to keep them fresh. I like to keep them comfy. And I'm actually down to spend a little bit more money versus just getting the cheapest ones I can find at Target or on Amazon. This next one I really love, which is that I'm spending more money on nicer adult beverages. So instead of just like going wild and getting 10 bottles of the cheapest wine at grocery outlet or like $2 chuck at Trader Joe's or whatever it costs now, instead I'm more focused on buying higher quality and drinking a lot less. So I'll actually get that bottle of like tequila or vodka or the wine or beer that I really, really like. I'm not just going for like what's on sale, what can I get the most volume of for my money, but instead I'll buy less and more treat it as like a delicacy. So I'm drinking a lot less. And I think a part of that also is because I'm a lot more content with my life. When I come home, my house is peaceful, even with a newborn and a toddler in this life stage. The house is still pretty dang clean and it's manageable. So I find that I'm not trying to like escape as much from my life. When I was like in my previous like 9 to 5 and our house was always really, really messy, I always wanted like a few drinks after work. And that adds up. It's a ton of drinks in a week, and it also adds up cost-wise. So I'm spending more on nicer alcohol. I'm treating it more as like a little luxurious moment. It feels more chic, it feels more healthy, and it just feels good. So treat yourself. The next category I am spending more dough on since I started minimalism and having a more simplified life is accessories, tools for my hobby or passion. So for me, that's YouTube, very meta, you're watching it, but that's what I do with all of my free time. And honestly, if my house was not simplified, there would be not a single second that I was not cleaning, especially with having 2 little kids. So for me, it's opened up time and space to do what I love, which gives me a lot of fulfillment. It's creative, it's fun, and it's like a way for me to connect with other people, my online community, you guys. And so yeah, I bought my camera, tripod, a laptop. I have my cost of my editing software I pay monthly, and then also like the music, the sound, Epidemic Sound. So that's what investing in my passion or hobby has looked like for me. It may look way different for you. Maybe you want to buy a stand-up paddleboard to use when you have more time, or maybe you want to go take like, I don't know, art classes or get some paintbrushes. Do your thing. The next category I'm spending a lot more money on, this is probably the number one as far as dollar volume, it is groceries. Because I'm eating out a lot less, all the money from eating out and buying cocktails out, I am shifting over to groceries because my house is more simplified and more easy to clean essentially. I find myself reaching to cook, to try new recipes much more frequently. And then on top of that with groceries, I find that because again, I'm not spending money eating out as frequently, I have extra cash to buy the nicer stuff. So whatever that means to you, for me, it's like always having real maple syrup. That's something I would just buy like on a whim here and there because it's expensive. Just those higher dollar items keep me wanting to cook, keep me having good snacks at home, but my grocery bill's absolutely way higher than it used to be, even with all my couponing. That's my other tip. Get those coupons and the apps. I'm all about the grocery store apps now that I'm in my 30s. The next thing I'm buying more of and spending more money on is just secondhand furniture, decor, and clothing. I find that when you have a busier life, when you have an untidy home that's just really hard to manage, you don't have a lot of spare time on the weekends. You're mostly like cleaning and trying to catch up in between like social affairs and engagements. Social affairs sounds fancy. Hanging out with friends, you know what I mean. So yes, now I find that with like having a more manageable home, I have more time to do what I like, which is find secondhand items. So I have more time to thrift and vintage shop. I also have a lot more patience now that I've shifted to having more of an intentional mindset with what comes into my home. I'm not always relying on Target and Wayfair and Amazon to get those furniture pieces. I have more patience to like sit on it, find things that better suit like the personality of my family, what we're looking for in our home. And in turn, I'm spending less. My home, I feel like, looks more curated. I think it looks more high end in the end. And yeah, more secondhand goods. It's my favorite way to shop, and definitely I'm able to do more of it. Another item or category that I'm spending more money on are kitchen tools, just very specific kitchen basics like knives. I feel like my husband and I used to always have like, I don't know, 6 to 10 knives that were all really crappy and dull. But now I've decluttered all of those, and I think we just have like 3 or 4 knives that are nicer knives that work better, get a knife sharpener, and just are able to care for the things that we do have in the kitchen. And I really try to keep just very few tools in the kitchen. I don't do all the gadgets and all of that, but for the things that we do have, I'm trying to find better quality materials, things that are easier to clean, you know, stainless steel mixing bowls, a cast iron like Dutch oven, things of those sorts, things that last a lot longer. I feel like they're the kind of things that were like on our parents' and grandparents' wedding registries that they still have in their homes. But if you buy the latest and greatest at like TJ Maxx and Target, often those things don't really last. So yes, refocusing on kitchen items that last and spending a little bit more money in there. The next example is that I'm spending more money buying movies, purchasing movies at home. We do have access to like different streaming services, but when I want to watch a film that's not on one of those, let's say it's like a throwback nostalgic movie from childhood or it's a new release movie, I find now that I don't have the guilt around purchasing that item. I think that comes from not spending money on so many frivolous things. Now that I've simplified my life and I'm more intentional and like thoughtful with my thinking, I'm not buying so much random crap out in the world. Starbucks 24/7, like, you know, eating out fast food more. Now that I've like zoomed back and collected myself and I'm a little more centered with all of those things, buying a movie doesn't feel like another random frivolous thing that I'm just clicking and, you know, seeing on my bank statement. Instead, I have the calmness and awareness and peace to know that, no, I'm just purchasing this because I want to see it. It's nostalgic, or it's creative, or it's like a family moment we're going to all have together. And at the end of the day, I'm spending less money than I would be like going out to the theater or spending money out doing something similar. Instead, we can just have that movie night in and have it be a family time. Okay, I've got my newborn on my lap now, so you may hear some baby noises for the duration of the video. The next thing I have on my list is that I'm spending more money on new items when I'm not shopping secondhand from stores that have excellent return policies. So I'm pretty much buying everything from Costco, Nordstrom, and REI. Those are the stores that come to mind because they really have, I feel like, products that are pre-qualified, made to last mostly. And if something goes awry with them, you can work with them to like repair it or fix it or return it. So spending a lot more money at those stores on those items versus some of the other big box stores and brands that have crappy return policies and mostly just sell crappy things that don't run very long. Another thing I spend more money on now that I've slowed down in my life and kind of just like zoomed out from the hustle and the bustle is like vitamins and supplements. I don't overbuy them, but I definitely buy a little bit here and there. I love like my green powder for smoothies that I get. And then also I'll spend a little bit more money on like hydration, like powders and stuff, especially now that I'm breastfeeding right now. I've been getting that like salt-based, I think it's like Redwood or Red something Farms. I'll put it up on the screen. I've been spending a bit of money. It's like $40 per each of these little salt hydration scoops. So testing those out, seeing how they make me feel, and just reprioritizing spending more money on health. Same with my husband. We've been buying him some nicer vitamins and just, I don't know, taking it a step up from just like the basic drugstore stuff, or taking them at all because we haven't always taken our vitamins. The next item or thing I've been spending more money on are record albums for my record player. Again, I have more time for hobbies and interests. And so I got a record player for my birthday and I have been loving using it. I've also loved that I'm playing music from something that's not my phone. We just use our phones for absolutely everything, to map, to talk to friends, to shop. And so for me, being able to play my music from something different and just having those physical records and enjoying the experience and slowing down a little, I've really enjoyed. So that's just my own little interest at the moment. I've also been enjoying thrifting for the records because they're pretty much at every secondhand store and they're really inexpensive. This next one is spending more money on clothes that feel authentically me versus spending more money on trend-driven clothes. I think this is because I'm off social media. If you're not seeing what the trends are, versus like seeing them out in the world. And I live in Montana, so it's not that trend driven. It's more like utilitarian clothes. So for me, I'm no longer super influenced by trends. I'm vaguely aware of them, but for me, I'm really focusing more in on what's my personal style, what is my style going forward, and what's authentic to me, like truly to the core, versus seeing like what's hot, what's trendy on all the young celebs, what's on Revolve and Shopbop, etc. Next up is a gym membership. And this is one of those things I would buy on and off when I was younger, but then I would never use it, feel really guilty because I was so busy. And then I just have a lot of stress and guilt, honestly, just generally about my life with like being behind on having like the messiest closet and the messiest car. And now that, exhale, my house is cleaner and things are way simpler? Yeah, more simple by owning less. I feel like I'm willing to splurge like on movies at home. Like I said, like the gym's another thing like that. Like, yes, I'm worth it. I feel good about this purchase. And also if I'm not going and I need to like pause or cancel the membership, I know I have the time and capacity to do so. It doesn't get like left to the wayside and forgotten and become a stressful situation. So gym pass, man. The next thing I'm spending more on, or our family's spending more on, are those baby gear essentials, like the few really nice things like the car seat, stroller, and crib, I would say. There's so many things that you can register for. If you're having a baby soon, like you're pregnant, check out my baby's essential, like baby registry essentials video. I just filmed that recently, what I think the essentials are, at least for our family. But for us, I'm willing to spend more on those things that we use every day, those utilitarian items, and the items that can be resold or passed down to a friend or family member. Also baby onesies, it's another area I'm actually kind of down to spend money on. You just learn through experience of having a kid what things it pays to have nicer items, because if you buy like a Carter's onesie, for instance, you can't resell that. So it's kind of just like dead, or it goes to the thrift store. It doesn't last a long time. But if you buy like a higher end one, a bamboo one, you're more likely to get some money back reselling it or passing it on to a friend because you actually want to give it to them because it's nice and it lasts. So yeah, investing more in those baby items. I think like as a whole, we're spending less than we would if we did like a classic registry, getting all the things, the bottle warmer, the wipe warmer, the bouncer thing. We don't buy all of that stuff. We just spend more money on a few things. But yeah, definitely willing to spend more money on the big items than I would have previously. I think like before simplifying everything, I just would have got like the medium grade everything and bought like 4 times as much. The next item on my list is actually car washes. And I know some people may think that's frivolous, like just do it yourself. But right now in the life stage I am, I don't have that much time to wash my car. And I actually value having a clean car much more than I used to, especially in my 20s. For me, it's just an important thing to feel good, that pride of ownership. And right now the car wash is like what I can do versus doing it at home. I'm just not gonna get to it. So right now I'm willing to spend more money on car washes, hit that drive-through, check it off the list. It's really like a self-care sort of thing so that I have a clean space, like inside and out for my family to get from point A to point B, especially like getting to school, work, or things like that in the morning. Everyone has a fresh start, a clean start, and it just feels good. The next thing I've personally been spending more money on is the thing that I actually want versus the dupe. So for me, it's gonna be like a pair of shoes or a bag or sunglasses. In my former life, I would definitely just like buy the dupe because I spent a lot more money and shopped more frequently on fast fashion. I would just get like a lot of different dupes for things, whether it was on Amazon or Target or Zara. These days, I don't buy that much. I thrift a lot of stuff. So I'll be more experimental when it comes to thrifting because it's like lower stakes as far as like sustainability and then also cost-wise. But when it's something I know I like, I know I want, like a leather good, loafers, a bag. I'm just gonna buy the real thing. And I don't buy like designer, but I just mean something that's in the category of like $100 to $300. I'm just gonna buy the item. And again, I'm gonna buy it from one of those places that has the fantastic return policy. And the last example I have on my list is going to be spending more on patio furniture, or just like outdoor things to make our experience at home like elevated and better. Like I said, when you're home or when I'm home, I'm spending a lot less money than trying to do things on the town. And I really want my home experience, my home life, to be this rich experience, this comfortable experience where our family feels like it's a great place to be. So I spent more money this year specifically on patio furniture. I got a lounge chair, I got some string lights, we got a new grill, and then also like a little herb garden spot. So not a crazy amount of money, but it is a place that I'm more willing to invest in now that I have simplified our life. I feel like when you're busy and your house is really messy, you don't have as much time to like cook outside and do gardening and things like that when you're behind the 8 ball all the time. But because I have more time and my house is pretty much always picked up, it's quick to pick up when it is messy, I do have that time to spend outside with my family, and it's a time that we value. Also, when it comes to paying our monthly rent, I really want to soak up, take advantage of every square foot in this house, including our outdoor space, because we're paying for it, we're paying a lot of money for it. So I want to use it and love it and take advantage of it. So those are the 16 things that I'm spending more money on, buying more frequently now that I've simplified my life. That's just the list that I brainstormed this morning while having coffee. I'm sure there's a lot more, but I will say the list is much, much longer of all the things that I spend a lot less money on that I am no longer doing. So check out the video of all the things that I have quit since starting minimalism. I think it's a good watch as far as just like percolating some ideas, reflecting on where you can kind of adjust the dials in your own life to make it a more rich, fulfilling life, whatever you're looking for, a happier time. That's what I'm looking for. So I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't. We're almost at 5K. I feel like I've been saying that for a little bit. Let's get there. Have a very fun rest of your day. Love you guys so much. Bye.